Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Brennan, and I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday World Meditation. Tonight you join me from my home in Naples, New York. This sacred time and space is devoted to our shared practice of entering stillness together and of giving together. Let us first surround and protect ourselves with the love and the grace of God. Before we begin the meditation, I'd like to share a passage. Actually, I'm going to share two passages from the New Message About Practice. The two practices and passages I'm going to share, one is from Healing Relationships and the other one is from Forgiveness. And today is a significant day for me. This is the day my parents were married in 1962. And this was the day that within the Great Coordination that my brother and I have a twin brother, were planned on coming into the world. If my parents didn't get married, they wouldn't have had children, of course. So I think about this because the relationship I had with my mom and dad wasn't a very good one. And the one revelation, Healing Relationships, has really opened my heart and my mind to a practice of seeing the humanity in other people based on circumstances that they grew up in and through. And before I found the New Message, I was a pretty angry guy and pretty resentful for a few things that all had to do with my parents and was directed to them. And now it's much different, thank God, to the practices that I've encountered through the New Message of God. So the first one I'm going to read is coming from Healing Relationships. And this is a couple passages. It's just a couple paragraphs from the revelation, starting at the end. Every circumstance is useful in gaining wisdom and in learning the value of knowledge within yourself and in other people. Every situation can yield this value to you. It does not mean the situation was good. It does not mean that it was meant to happen necessarily, for many things happen that were never meant to happen. They just happen. It is the value that you gain from them that is significant. Do not claim that everything happens for a purpose. That is ignorance. But it does mean that you can use everything for a higher purpose. That is wisdom. It is not the intention of an event. It is not the value you gain from it. It is the value you gain from it. It is the wisdom you bring to it. It is your courage to face it and to determine what it has to teach you. Here you learn from the errors of everyone. Everyone is serving you now, making you wiser, more compassionate, more self-aware, stronger, and more free within yourself to follow a greater purpose in life. This is like a 180-degree change from your former position. Instead of going through life as a wounded child, you are now using everything that happens to teach you the value of knowledge, to generate a commitment to following knowledge within yourself, and to show you the importance of inner freedom and the value of forgiveness, as it must truly be experienced. Part of your deep evaluation in life is to go back and to review all of your relationships. Ask yourself in each one, what is the wisdom I must gain from this relationship? What are the circumstances under which this other person lived that determine their attitude and their behavior? How can I learn from their experiences? How did they try to help me in spite of their difficulties? How did this relationship help to prepare me to find and to express a greater purpose in my life? These questions are very important because they give you an opportunity to see your relationship from a higher vantage point. Instead of being lost in the woods in the valley below, you have now gained a position on the mountain where you can see the landscape clearly. Here you will see that through truth and error, people have been serving you. But you can only see this within the context of your gaining a greater purpose in life. If your family could not accept you, that is good, because your future purpose in life may be something that has to operate outside the network of your family. And they have given you the freedom to pursue that. If you were disappointed in the relationship, did it not free you from a greater future? Had you married that person, you may never have had the opportunity or found the inner strength or certainty to discern what you're really here to do. Have not the errors of others and your own mistakes given you a core and a foundation for developing wisdom? Wisdom that will save your life and that will be of immense value to other people. Wisdom that you can teach and demonstrate. Wisdom that will be part of your gift to a struggling humanity. This represents a revolution within yourself, a real transformation, an entirely different position from which to see life and to see yourself. And it is entirely honest. It is entirely authentic. There is no emotional dishonesty here. There is no self-deception here. There is no glossing over the truth here with fanciful ideas. It is entirely sound. It is entirely real. Here, forgiveness becomes the means by which other people's lives can teach you something of value and can encourage you to have the strength and the commitment and the wisdom to choose and to accept the gift of a greater purpose in life. So as I was reading this first revelation, it just struck me to go to the revelation about forgiveness, because there's so much, they're very connected to one another in so many ways, deeper ways that I never realized. So this reading, these few passages are from the Revelation Forgiveness. Here I must understand that not everything that happens is beneficial. And I'm going to use the present tense instead of you. And I know this to be true. But everything that happens can be used for a greater purpose without denying the reality of what has happened. Here I am not denying something that is harmful by calling it good. But I am trying to look for a benefit of the sign it is giving, so that it can strengthen my resolution to bring greater honesty and compassion into my life. If I try to make everything wonderful and beneficial, I will be dishonest, and dishonesty leads to great errors and great difficulties. And so your evaluation must be based upon a deeper awareness within yourself that is not really ideological in nature. It is more of a natural resonance. It is beyond the intellect. It is the empathy you feel with people at a deeper level. When you are able to meet someone and make a connection with them and recognize their situation, you will have a greater regard for them than you would by simply judging them from afar. Everyone will be facing the great ways of change. It will produce great hardship. The great ways of change are largely the product of humanity's abuse and overuse of the world. Now the consequences of all that are beginning to manifest in many different ways at once. If humanity discovers that its resources are limited, it will have to change its economic systems, its approach to living, its interactions with the world, its use of resources, everything. These changes are very difficult for people. However necessary they might be, it will produce great stress and even deprivation for people. You may want to change, but you have to realize that change is very difficult. And many people do not undergo change very gracefully or very willingly. so it engenders conflict. People who are advocates for change often overlook the cost of change, the price of change, the impacts of change. They want the world to be different than it is, but they don't really understand what it will take to get from here to there, from where the world is today to where the world could be in a better state. Even in your own life, you do not undergo change very gracefully or very willingly. Real change that is required is very challenging. I resist it and I struggle with it and I complain about it, even if it is absolutely essential for me. Change requires work, determination, self-confidence, taking risks, giving up security, and nobody does this very easily. And this is the beautiful part of this. Therefore, never forget the humanity of people. Look beyond your own mind for the reality of your deeper nature. Do not be so controlled by your beliefs and thoughts and the conditioning of your cultures. And recognize you have come into the world for a greater purpose, and that God has given you knowledge to enable you to find this purpose, to discern it, to experience it, and to express it in the changing circumstances of my life. Then forgiveness will be something that will arise naturally, rather than being an artificial exercise. This will enable me to see through deception and confusion, and to honor the deeper nature of peoples. If humanity is to progress and survive the great ways of change, this deeper honesty and recognition must be fostered in ever greater numbers of people. And if I am able to do this and see its importance, I will naturally share this with others and be an agent of positive change in the world. Let us now take 30 minutes. Join me for 30 minutes in stillness. Read whatever step you're on, and enter stillness when you're ready. Nasinubari Kuro. While we're in this place of stillness together, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message, speaking about the messenger. I've chosen a reading from the New Messenger, the book, The New Messenger, Chapter 9, The Journey of the Messenger, as revealed to Marshall Deanne Summers on July 14th, 2013, in Boulder, Colorado. God has sent the messenger into the world in a time of great change and increasing uncertainty. He is the one messenger of the world. Though it will be difficult for many people to accept this, given their previous notions and investments. He has prepared long for this. He has come from the angelic assembly, of which he is a part. In the world, he is a man. He is imperfect, but all the great messengers have been imperfect. He is the one because he was sent into the world for this purpose. And he comes from the assembly. What he will provide, no individual could provide, no matter how inspired or how educated they might be, for they cannot bring the will and the power of heaven through their words and proclamations. But the true messenger not only brings the will and the power of heaven, but the voice of heaven itself, the voice of the assembly, speaking as one, the many speaking as one, a reality you cannot consider with your intellect. It is far too limited for this. There will be those who can recognize the messenger immediately, but for most, others it will have to be learned through time and demonstration, for they have much to clear in their own minds before they can see something of this magnitude. They will want proof in various forms, and some of their expectations will be met and others will not, for God is not bound by these things. The messengers of antiquity, their lives have been so altered and construed over the ages that nobody really knows who they were, now in a real and practical sense. But in truth, no one can understand the life of the messenger. For the messengers come from the angelic assembly. They are not the sons and daughters of God, for God does not have sons and daughters. That is merely a worldly understanding. It does not apply to creation. So the messenger is in the world. He has been prepared for so very long. It has taken a great deal of time to receive a revelation more expansive and inclusive than anything that has ever been given to the world, given now plainly and clearly in a world of global communications and global commerce. No longer clothed in anecdotes or pastoral themes or poetic images, but spoken clearly with much repetition so that it can be heard over time. Given now using the technology of this era, which was never available before. Given now to speak to the whole world at once, not just one tribe or group or region, a message so great because it represents the God of the universe and what God is doing in the entire universe, which has never been revealed before. For humanity has not educated or developed enough to consider such great things, save but a few individuals. You do not realize the perfection of this and why it must be so. For what God is doing in the world can only be known if you understand what God is doing in the universe as a whole. And such a revelation has never been given until now. It is with the messenger. It is given in the revelation. Let us spend a few moments together to be with Marshall. and send them our love, our strength, our gratitude and devotion, and share our joy with them in making that sacred round of you, knowing that we're on a mission to serve and contribute to a world in great need. Now see if there are others in the world or in your life who need to receive this strength as well. If so, spend a moment sending strength or another quality to these individuals. Nasi Navari Karam. Thank you all for coming.